Pecatonica School Board voted Wednesday night not to hire an elementary school teacher after hearing emotional public comment from parents. WIFR's Miriam Niesmeyer attended the meeting to hear concerns from parents and why some people say the hire could have been a smart move.
Pecatonica Elementary School hasn't had a music teacher since August. The district recently hired a temporary music teacher, and the issue gained attention earlier this month after a Facebook post criticized the teacher's use of pronouns in the classroom.
Piper, no. Owens, no.
The Pecatonica School Board votes not to hire elementary school music teacher Lee Ross Wednesday night. Parents and community members spoke during public comment to share divided views ahead of the vote.
But just the fact that she asked to be called Mix is in fact bringing her ideology into the classroom.
My daughter's teacher, Ms. Ross, has made my daughter happier, more educated.
Some parents spoke in support of the teacher, saying their children benefited from having music class restored after months without a permanent instructor.
Because they haven't had a music teacher all year. Now that she's finally got a teacher, she's coming home and she's explaining to us that, what her and her friends have done in the class. And
other parents raised concerns and criticized the teacher for the use of pronouns in the classroom.
Those students are 5 years old to 10 years old, and for me, I just think that confusion needs to be left out of the classroom when it comes to certain topics.
The district released a statement to families about the teacher in response to community concerns earlier this month. We do not tolerate bullying or discrimination of any kind, and we work to ensure that every student feels safe and respected at school. District leaders say families who have questions are encouraged to contact the school directly.
And the next Pecatonica School Board meeting is set for February 18th.